Hi, and welcome back to Saturday Night Bible Study. Just going to quickly recap what we studied last week. We've been studying about how to have a Christ-like mind. Last week we studied that a Christ-like mind is a mind that is at peace. It is also a mind that is devoted to following Christ, and more importantly, well, I won't say more importantly, these are all important, that we have a humble spirit with our mind. A mind of humility is one of the key things to being Christ-like. We're going to finish up the other three verses. Those are Titus chapter 1 verse 15, Luke chapter 24 verse 45, and the second characteristic in Romans chapter 8 verse 6. We're going to keep looking at what exactly it means to have a Christ-like mind and having that same mind in us. Just like we mentioned in Philippians chapter 2 verse 5. Part of that section I wanted you to memorize. We're actually getting set to jump into the book of Philippians. That's what I chose to initially study, and you might be thinking, okay, why does he choose, out of all the books of the Bible, Philippians? Well, let's look at what happened in Philippi. When Paul was in Philippi, he had a chance to start a church. But what did he go through? Oh, let's see, he was arrested while he was there, beaten, put in stocks, imprisoned. I'm not sure what kind of life you've had as a Christian, but if anyone ever told you that being a Christian would be a smooth as silk life, they were lying through their teeth. Living a Christian life is a challenge. We all face challenges in the name of Christ. We all face the opportunities to grow in Christ through these challenges. What Paul found in these challenges was joy. So what we're actually going to begin studying, and this is a reading assignment for this week, is Philippians chapter 1, verses 1 through 26. Now we look at what it is to be used for God. When Paul wrote this letter, he was in chains. Now there's a little bit as far as when you catch what it means to go through to grow for Christ. When I was 18 years old, I was getting ready to sign a contract with NCBS Masterworks. It would have been a very nice salary, and it was playing instrumental music. A few weeks before I was to go to New York City and actually sign the contract, playing a pickup game of football, something that no respectful professional musician would ever do, I had my jaw shattered. Whose fault is that? Mine. Has it been used for God's glory? Yes. In Romans chapter 8 verse 48 it says, all things are used for the glory of God and to the good of those who believe. Me shattering my jaw was God's opening salvo on drawing me to Him. Had I not shattered my jaw, had God not allowed me to shatter my jaw and lose everything that I would have had, well, I would have been enjoying a nice, sweet life, leaning back on the beaches of New Zealand, and when I died, I'd be fried. The price of my sin, or how God used my sin for His glory, cannot even begin to be measured. And that's what brings great joy in losses. Now, after I tried to recover as a musician, I was preparing to be a full-time band director. And I was in a freak accident and had my shoulder basically ripped apart. Once again, this time it wasn't something of my fault. But if you look at John chapter 9, you see where there's a blind man who's been healed. And the Pharisees always ask him, hey, was it the sin of his dad? Or was it his own sin that caused him to be blind? And Jesus said, you don't get it. It's for my glory that he went through this. And it is for God's glory that I've been through what I've been through. Has it been easy? No. But Jesus said it would be full of peace and joy living the Christian life. That's what he meant by the burden being shared, by the burden being light, is no matter how tough things get, we have the joy of Christ with us. So here's the first question I want you to think about. I want you to define joy. Sounds simple enough until you actually sit down. Joy is not happiness. I want you to begin to think what it actually means to be joyful. Second thing I want you to do is there's some verses in here that just make you think, Paul, you're in prison. What are you thinking? Do you have any clue what you're saying? Well, I want you to think about some of these verses that intrigue you, that puzzle you, that just have you going, what? I want you to think about those, and we're going to talk about some of those verses on Saturday night. Now, I've already given how God has used me and my circumstances to further his gospel. I want you to think about this. There's been some serious tragedies that have happened, whether it be the tsunami in Indonesia, or I think of a case where it was a Christian college that had their bus go over an overpass about 2 years ago, and the bus driver and his wife were killed along with 4 others on the bus, and others were severely injured. It's a tragedy, yes. Has God used it for his glory? There's something to think about. Now, one other little thing I want you to catch in here. Right around verse 15, Paul talks about those who try to advance the gospel for their own purposes. Now, we've had a few of those in our time, commonly televangelists, where they go out and preach the gospel, collect lots of money, drive around in their Rolls Royces, wear fancy fur coats, and they do it all for them. But the thing is, despite them doing it for them, people are still coming to Christ because the gospel is presented. No matter whether some of these preachers are saying, hey, love God, love Jesus, that's the way down the road. Even though they're trying to peddle their own wares, peddle their own programs, and make money for themselves, the gospel is still being advanced. And I want you to think about Paul's reaction to that. And as much as we get angry to some of these things, I want you to think about our own reaction. And do we act the same way as Paul does? What do you think about Paul's reaction to that challenge? And how do we need to react to these kinds of things that are going on with the gospel? These are the things we're going to be talking about. These are the things we're going to be thinking about and how to apply it to our own lives. See you on Saturday night.